Hello again, this is Josiah Emery, and I'll be reviewing a game of the Shores of Tripoli that I played against Ian. And this is a game that I played as the United States. Lately, my friends and I have been feeling that the United States is at a disadvantage in this game, and that might very well be true, especially considering that we play the Fortress Tripoli scenario, which makes it much harder for the United States to initiate harbor battles in Tripoli. But um, I think that this game is a great example of how things can go right for the United States. And one of the first things that went right is the opening hand. I think that Congress authorizes action and Corsairs confiscated are just about the two best cards that you can see in your opening hand. And so I would just start off with Corsairs confiscated, really not think too hard about it. And then my opponent responded with a pirate raid in Tripoli because I wasn't able to move any frigates into Tripoli. They got a free pirate raid. They got 2 gold for their trouble. And we're also able to use a merchant ship converted card to get an extra frigate. So now I'm going to use my naval movement to make sure they can't get any more free raids. And see what our opponent does. They use Tripoli acquires Corsairs. So I'm going to probably respond with Swedish frigates if I had to guess. Just don't want them to get any more free gold. And they're going to start the war in Algeria. And I might attack Algeria, I might not. I have to play this Congress authorizes action card before the end of the year. This is my last chance to do it. So I think I'm probably just going to do that. Yeah, that's what I did. And Ian responded with a pirate raid. And I think I was able to use Lieutenant Sterrett in pursuit. And that helped me to get an extra Corsair here. So I think that the Lieutenant Sterrett in pursuit was also a very nice card to have in the opening hand. And you might ask yourself, why does it matter what are the good opening hands and what are the bad opening hands? Well, it really comes down to if a doubling cube were ever introduced into this game, it would be useful to have these kinds of shorthand methods of determining like what your percentage chance of winning is from the outset in case your opponent wanted to double or you wanted to double. And that's a mechanic from backgammon that is really applicable to any short game. Okay, so here I didn't have to discard the hand limit. I have like a bunch of options. I think the fact that I don't have tribute or show of force is like really bad here. Like I think the first thing I would want to do is pay tribute or show of force Algier. So I might be just doing naval movement into Algier because the likelihood of my opponent having a raid card with that ally state is much higher now that we are into 1802. I think I want to hold early deployment until 1803. Although some other uses of early deployment are like if you intend to attack your opponent and you know that your frigate's going to get damaged in the process, early deployment can just bring that right back. But if I had to guess, I think I'm naval moved into Algier from here. Other options are just building a gunboat to see if they declare war somewhere else. See what I did. I did do naval movement, and I moved into Algier. And Preble's Boy didn't take aim. 2 of my frigates became damaged, and I was able to take out 2 of the Corsairs, effectively eliminating Algier as a threat. My opponent did a pirate raid. I got a predictable amount of interceptions. They got a pretty decent amount of gold. So I launched the Intrepid here and was able to take out a Corsair. Since I could have introduced more frigates to this area. That was another option. I don't really see one as being better than the other, launch the Intrepid versus putting more frigates into Tripoli. Because if I move the frigates in and my opponent declares war in Tunis or Tangier, then I'm just going to be moving the frigates right back out. I feel like that's poor action economy. Okay, so my opponent captured a frigate. And then I moved my frigates in here. You got to do what you got to do. Another pirate raid. So this might have been a mistake on my opponent's part, because I feel like the dice were not in their favor for this pirate raid, but it worked out for them, so what can you say? So I responded with Constantinople demands tribute, and we're into 1803. So by the end of the year, I need to get a guy into Alexandria. And here's the thing, is that my opponent was able to successfully steal a frigate, and they can also get a frigate later on from Constantinople demands aid. So the way I see it is peace treaty is very much less appealing than assault on Tripoli at this point, because I would have to be attacking the harbor of Tripoli in order to be able to take out that second frigate. So probably going to discard the peace treaty here if I had to guess. And I discarded another card. And I played early deployment. And yeah, I think that if there were more Corsairs in Tripoli, I think that I would want to be moving my frigates instead of doing early deployment. But I think because the frigate Corsair ratio is so nice, early deployment's fine. My opponent's probably going to pay off the Swedes. They do. I built a gunboat. Yeah. You know, that's. I think this is a debatable play, but I think I was feeling good about the amount of gold that my opponent had. So I built a gunboat. And, you know, I think another reason I built a gunboat here is because, again, I only drew one tribute paid. No show of force. It's very disappointing. Right? I'm just backing up for a second. Yeah, no show of force. I wasn't able to draw one yet, so. So, Swedes are paid off, and I built a gunboat. Then my opponent does a pirate raid. And that was very good for me. They basically just used an action round to give away a Corsair. Obviously, the only way they can win the game is getting gold, so I can understand, you know, it really depends on their hand. And so I think I built another gunboat, just getting ready for the assault on Tripoli and want to be responsive. I used give tribute to do that, though. That's interesting. I think I got the read that my opponent just didn't have a war card. And here's another pirate raid. So actually, you know, another point of this video might be, you know, what not to do with Tripoli. Of course, you know, my opponents and I are still getting the sense of this game, and this seems like a very, very risky to pirate raid with just a handful of Corsairs against a whole host of frigates. And of course, yeah, we saw 2 Corsairs intercepted and 0 merchant ships. So maybe that's just very poor luck. And then I moved my frigates. We went into Alexandria, and then I probably attacked Algiers if I had to guess. And I did, and that worked out. My opponent's playing U.S. supplies run low, and they moved a guy out of the area of Tripoli, the patrol zone of Tripoli. Yeah, I think that if I were playing U.S. supplies run low, I would want to move the frigate out of Alexandria to make it harder for me to play Hamet's army. It's possible that my opponent was a little tilted after their unlucky rolls on the last turn. Or, you know, they're just getting the hang of Tripoli. And so I had to discard some cards. Created Hamet's army. My opponent sent troops to Dern. I used the discard pickup card to recruit Bedouins, or I was planning on doing it, and then my opponent declared war with Tangier. So this is where the gunboats are would be useful, but I managed to draw Show of Force, so I use Show of Force. And this is why my opponent should have done U.S. Surprise runs low, because I was able to use the Hamlet's army in a timely manner, and that freed up the frigate in Alexandria instead of having to use an action to move the guy back into Alexandria and then make Hamlet's army and have that frigate be stranded. So Tangier has been discouraged from being at war with us. And this is mostly just to prevent my opponent from getting gold. I'm not trying to win via peace treaty, so it's not actually necessary that I eliminate every ally corsair. But, I just want to make it harder to get gold, so I'm most likely going to be attacking Tunis here. Some good rolls there. My opponent raided with the one corsair in Tunis. I think that they might be in a bit of a desperate position. I think an option for them might have been to just build a corsair in Tripoli instead. Of course, it doesn't feel good, but I think that's your best option in that kind of situation. Also, notably, one thing that the Tripolitans also could consider doing is at the beginning of the game, when they were able to declare war with Algiers, and I didn't attack it right away. Right. So I played Congress authorized actions, and my opponent pirate raided in Tripoli in response. I think that would have been a perfect time to play the Yusuf Karamanli card, which would have allowed them to pirate raid with the Corsairs in Algiers as well as the Corsairs in Tripoli. So just get a little bit of extra action economy there. Okay, so I had to discard some cards. I'll spare you the details. And so now it's my turn, and I'm probably looking at getting more troops with Bainbridge. But I might have also... Oh, yeah, I still have him at recruits. So I'm probably just going to do that. Running out of Arabs to be able to recruit. Those are the represented by with the white squares. My opponent sends troops to Dern. And so this is concerning. This is a lot of troops into Dern. So this is why another good reason to have built those gunboats. I'm going to do a round of naval bombardment in Dern before I attack it. So I played the naval movement card to do that. And honestly, I'm able to make this kind of move because my opponent has so few Corsairs in Tripoli. If my opponent had more Corsairs than this, of course I would need my Corsairs in the my frigates in the patrol zone. I wouldn't have the luxury of being able to attack Dern. But you should try to recognize these situations, and so that's why I'm bringing it up. And my opponent raided with the Corsair in Tunis. Again, I think I would probably be building a Corsair in Tripoli instead. So I attacked Dern. My opponent didn't have any battle events, unfortunately, or chose not to use them. And they sent troops to Benghazi. And then I attacked Benghazi. And that went well. And then my opponent played Constantinople Sends Aid, I think it's called. And now an important concept, I think, is that you kind of want to just attack sooner rather than later. Like, I think if I spent a turn, for instance, building a gunboat here, it would be a mistake. Or like recruiting more Bedouins with Bainbridge Supplies Intel would be a mistake, because my opponent might be able to respond with troops to Tripoli or Tripoli attacks, and it could be bad. So I think I just launch right into the assault, and it really didn't matter too much that I waited, because I was able to pick up the Send in the Marines card in 1806, so that was okay. Our timing as far as getting to Benghazi. And our opponent could have played Constantinople sends aid as soon as we were in Dern. So I think when they were raiding with the Corsairs in Tunis, a better move would have been to just to grab a frigate and 2 more Corsairs in Tripoli. But again, they're in a tough position, so it's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. Discarding cards from my hand. And then I launched the assault on Tripoli. I used Preble's Boys Take Aim. And I was also able to use Lieutenant O'Bannon leads the charge, as well as Marine sharpshooters, and send in the Marines. So just about everything you could possibly need for a successful assault on Tripoli. Thanks for watching.